What's up, guys? Welcome and welcome back to my channel. Today I'm back again with another story time for you all today, and as you can see by the title down below, that's what we're going to be talking about. Let's get into the video. So basically, I was going to my regular appointments and I was like 36, 37 weeks pregnant. I started getting high blood pressure. It wasn't nothing too crazy, because like when I would go, I would be drinking like coffee before I get to my appointments, eating like a big breakfast sandwich and you know, all the good stuff. And I would go right to my appointment after realizing that like that first appointment, okay, my blood pressure was high, and she was like, did I eat or drink anything? So I'm like, yeah, I had coffee. So she's like, okay, that could be the reason why my blood pressure was high. So then the next time I did the same thing again. I'm like, forget that, I'm gonna have my coffee and my stuff, because I would wake up early to go to my appointment. I didn't even get to eat yet, so I would go stop to get me food. So then after like the third time, I realized I didn't do anything, I didn't eat anything, I only drank water, and I went to my appointment and my blood pressure was a little high. So my doctor, she got worried a little, and she was like, oh, we might have to schedule you for induction because of your blood pressure. So I'm like, okay, I'm going through this again because I already went through that with my first child. So I'm like, okay, I already know how that goes. I didn't want to get induced. I was hoping this one would be just natural, like my water break, and I just have a natural birth and delivery. So I'm like, lady, she sent me to the hospital and everything to get all the tests done so they can monitor the baby and everything. Everything was fine. So after the nurses was checking like my blood pressure, they were monitoring my baby in my stomach and all of that stuff. They ran some blood tests on me to see if I had like preeclampsia or all of that extra stuff, and everything was good. Like all my blood work, all my blood tests came out good. So they called my doctor and they told her like everything looks fine. So little Miss Doctor Lady was like, oh, she doesn't want to risk it. She wants to take the baby out early. So I'm like, okay, fine. I actually ended up switching my doctor to my first baby's doctor because I wanted to get that okay for me to give birth early at 37 weeks. Because with my first child, I gave birth at 39 weeks. And then with this baby, they were trying to take her out like 37 weeks. So I'm like, that's a little bit too early. She's not ready. Like, at least give me like a week. I didn't wait for them to tell me. I went on like how I felt. I was feeling good about it. But then I said, okay, let me stop being stubborn. And then I ended up going in to get induced. So I get to the hospital and everything, we get everything together, the paperwork, blah blah blah. They put me in the room, they're monitoring me, and then they switch me to like a private room. And then yeah, so they started giving me these little small pills. If y'all know what I'm talking about, it was like some really small pills to induce my labor. But with my first child, they just automatically gave me like Pitocin. They didn't give me any pills or anything like that. I was taking the pills and like they were really small pills. So I'm like, how is this gonna help me with anything? But okay, fine. So she kept coming in, like it's after every couple of hours they'll come back and give me some more of those pills, and I'll take it, drink it. So they would come in, check my cervical dilation to see if my cervix was dilated, and I was only dilated like 1 centimeter. They would come back again, 1 centimeter, come back again, 1 centimeter. So I'm like, you know what, y'all could stop digging in my coochie now because she's not coming yet. So then they finally switched to Pitocin. So they gave me like an IV, and then they started injecting the Pitocin. So then that's when I started feeling like I was like a couple hours later, not too long, how the pills basically did not help at all. So they switched me to Pitocin. So then after a couple of hours, they would come check, and then she's like, okay, like you're 3 centimeters. We're gonna come back in the next couple of hours to check. I think it was probably like every 3 to 4 hours. Every couple of hours, they would come check my cervix, and then they're like, okay, it's like 3, and then I was like at a stable 3. So later on, my doctor ended up coming in and he checked my cervix, and he was like, okay, we're gonna give it a couple of hours and then she should be here. my doctors and nurses would come in and they'll be like, oh, you're having a contraction, because they had the monitors on my stomach, and then they were like, oh, you're having like a contraction now, because they could see it on the monitor. So they're like, oh, do you feel it? And I'm like, no, I don't feel anything right now. Basically, if y'all don't know what a contraction feels like to me, it feels like, I don't know if y'all ever had like cramping and you feel like you gotta do the number 2 and your stomach hurting a little bit. It's like that one cramp and then it goes away. That's how it feels. So like I was having contractions like every 40 seconds. So then I'm like, okay, I was counting it. And then I was like, you know what, let me go download like a contraction counter. So they were like every 40 seconds, it was coming back to back. So I'm like, okay. So my water didn't break yet. So I'm like, Lord, please make my water break naturally at least. Because if it doesn't break, I think they go in there and they do it for you. So I was having contractions, and then I'm waiting for my water to break. But then the contraction started getting stronger and stronger. So I'm like, okay, like, oh, no. But I already remember the feeling because my first child. So I'm just breathing. That's one thing that helps me. I breathe like when the contraction is there. But as long as you just taking deep breaths and you just focusing, you'll be fine. Because like after that 40 seconds is done, or however long the contraction lasts, you'll be fine. So I was laying down on the bed, and then I was like, you know what? I can't lay down. I'm sitting down on the chair, and I'm like, whew, I can't do this anymore. Like this stuff is like, oh my God, like it started getting worse. But they always say like when you get like induced, it's a little stronger than natural, but I won't ever know because this is my second time getting induced. I was sitting on the chair, and then I felt like a gush of water just come out. And mind y'all, I didn't have any like panties or anything on, like no underwear. I didn't have anything on. I just had like the hospital gown on, and then I had put like the pads. They give you like little pads. Y'all know like the dog pee pads and stuff. It's similar to that. They give you that. So I put that on the chair so I could sit down on my butt. So then I'm sitting there, and then my water just breaks. So then I look down and I'm like, oh my God, my water broke. Like I was so happy, guys. I was so happy that my water broke. Like I was happy. So I was texting everybody, yeah, my water just broke. It's whatever time. I think it was probably like two something when my water broke. So I'm like, okay, my water broke. The nurse came in the room to check on me, and I'm like, oh, my water broke. So she looked and she's like, yep, it did. So I'm like, okay. She told me just like get back on the bed. She wants to check to see if I'm dilated a little more. So she checks, and then I think I was probably like a 4 or like a 5. Not too much, since it's been like a couple of hours and it didn't dilate as much as they expected. So she gave me like this ball, this peanut ball. It was like the one shaped like a snowman type, and she put it between my knees and my thighs. She put it there, and I was just laying there. So after all of that happened, my baby father came in the room, and he was laying down on the couch, and I'm like, you know what, let's just take a nap for the time being. So I actually could not like sleep because the contractions they just started getting worse after that point. It's not unbearable, it's bearable, but it's annoying, like, because it keeps coming back, stopping, coming back. Like, I won't say it hurt, but it's just like, it was just bothering me. Like, it's annoying. That's how I describe it. Like, it was just bothering me, like at that point where I couldn't even breathe anymore. I'm like, you know what, I already know how the epidural go. Come, bring it. Y'all can bring me my epidural now. Please call the lady, because I'm over it. I'm over it. Keep breathing. I'm over it. So they called a specialist to come give me the epidural. So she gives me the epidural, and then I'm like, okay, I can still feel my toes. Like, I can still feel my bottom area. Like, what's going on? She's like, oh, give it a while for it to kick in. Mind y'all, for my first child, as soon as I got it, like, it didn't take that long for my body to start feeling numb. I was wiggling my toes, and I'm like, I could still feel my toes and everything down there. She's like, give it a couple of minutes. So a couple minutes passed, I could still feel my toes. If I wanted to go to the bathroom, I could walk by myself, basically. So they have like a cord or something, I guess, connected to like whatever they put in your back for the epidural. So she's like, press it. If I needed to get stronger, it's like a red button or whatever they give you. You press it, and then it's supposed to go inside of your spine, and then, you know, like reactivate or give you like a stronger dose of the epidural, like, if that makes sense. Like, you press it and then the liquid starts to flow. I'm pressing it, and I'm like, I'm telling him, I'm like, this stuff is not working. So after you press it the first time, it takes a while for it to come back for you to press it again, I guess, so you don't overdose yourself or something, like, or you don't give yourself too much. It's not working because I'm feeling these contractions like heavy, like, and then the nurse came in again, and I'm like, I don't feel it. She's like, oh, give it a while and you'll be fine. So more of it, whatever they had me pressing, it did not help me at all, like, whatsoever. I'm like, what? Like, what is this? Because it's not helping. So I said, okay, you know what? Let's take a nap for the time being. So me and him both fell asleep. Mind y'all, I still had that peanut ball or whatever it's called. I think it's called a peanut ball in between my legs, and then I was laying down sleeping. I randomly get up, guys, and I look over at him. I see he's sleeping. So then I'm like, okay, these contractions is getting really bad at this point, and I feel funny. That's how I could describe it. Like, I was feeling really funny down there, and I'm like, I never felt like this before. Like, it feel like pressure is like on top of my vagina, like something is down there, like, you know, all I feel is pressure down there, like straight pressure. So I hurry up and I call him. I'm like, hey, come. Like, I was being so, like, that's how I was reacting, because it felt like something in my head, it felt like something was wrong. I knew something was going on down there that I never felt before. So I'm like, oh, come, like, hurry. So he hurried up and he jumped out his sleep. That was the fastest I ever seen this boy jump up out his sleep. Like, it's like he already knew. Like, he got up so fast. So I'm telling him, take the ball from between my thighs, because I can't move. Like, it feels like if I move wrong, something's gonna happen. Like, so I told him, hurry up, like, help me up a little bit. So he helps me up, and I'm sitting, and I'm like, you know what, I can't even sit down. Like, oh my God. And then, guys, I started feeling like the urge to push. Oh my God. When I tell y'all, guys, I did not feel like that with my first. And this is why you can't really compare like experiences with people, because I was expecting the same for my first to happen with my second, and it was completely different. Like, oh my God, like, I feel so weird. I cannot sit. Like, I'm just uncomfortable. Like, it just feels like something is down there. Like, I said, go, hurry up, go out there, call a nurse. So I'm pressing a button to call the nurses, and they was not hurrying up to get in the room. I'm like, no, you gotta go out there and you gotta go call them. So he goes out the room and he's like, hello, we need a nurse. So the nurse is taking so long to get in the room. Like, I wasn't even in that mindset to curse them out. Like, oh my God, like, I was so like worried about what was going on. Like, why was I feeling how I was feeling? So the nurse finally comes. I don't even know how long she took. He had to go out there again to say, hello, we need some nurses. Hello, something wrong. So then that's when they hurried up and they came in the room. So my nurse comes in the room, and I'm like, ma'am, like, I can't even lay down. I feel like something is wrong. So she's telling me, lay down, lay back, so she could check on the baby and she could see where the baby is and all of that. I'm telling her I cannot lay back because I feel so uncomfortable laying back right now. Like, I feel uncomfortable. She's like, oh, well, mama, you have to lay back so I can see where the baby is. So then she gets the little, it's like a little circle stuff that they put on your stomach to monitor the baby. She took that, like, it's to check the heartbeat and all of that stuff. So she takes that and she puts it on the top of my vagina, and then she hears the baby down there, and she's like, oh, I'm trying to find a heartbeat. I'm trying to find a heartbeat. And then she hears the baby is like down, all the way down there. So then she gets her glove. She's telling me lay back. I'm like, I can't, it hurts, I can't. And then I'm telling her now, at this point, I feel like I have to push. Now that's when I started realizing that's what that tense feeling that I was feeling down there, that I have to push, because I didn't know what that felt like with my first child, because everything was numb down there. So I'm telling her, ma'am, I feel like I gotta push or something. I cannot sit up straight, like I gotta push now. So she's like, oh, you gotta give me a second. So then she takes her gloves, she puts it on, and then she take her fingers and then she puts it in my vagina, and she feels what? The baby head. She feels my baby head down there. She's like, oh my God, I feel her head. And then she goes hurry up and rush out the room, and she calling all the other nurses, and I'm like, ah, shit about to get real. Like, my baby father, he was like, oh shit, like, oh my God, like, that's he probably thought I was tripping at first, but then again, he didn't think I was tripping, because the way he was rushing in, I'm like, I don't know why I feel like this, but it ain't right. I had about 5 women in the room with me, and he was the only guy. My doctor, they called him, they're like, oh, we feel the baby head, and she feels like she has to push right now. So he's like, oh, they're on the phone with him, and he's like, oh, I'm 11 minutes away. I'm 11 minutes away. I said, what that's supposed to mean, because I can't wait 11 minutes. So I looked at it was a black nurse in there. I looked at her face and I said, excuse me, miss, I feel like I have to push. So she says, whatever you feel, go ahead and do it. So I said, so they opened the little thing on the bed where you put like the leg rest, they open it. I put one foot there and the other foot up there, and then guess what I started doing? Pushing. All right. So she's telling me whenever I have to push, which I loved, because before they like counted, made me wait. No, I could not wait. I couldn't wait any longer. So I put my feet up and then I started pushing. I went, y'all, if I was there, I'm gonna try to find a video, because he recorded me pushing. It was so crazy. Like, I pushed so hard. Like I said, I felt the urge to push for the first time. With my first child, I did not feel the urge to push. I was so numb down there, I didn't feel anything. So I started pushing. I pushed so hard, it's like my body knew it was time for her. My body knew it was time for her to get out. So I pushed that one time. I pushed so hard. Y'all, when I say I pushed hard, I did. Like, my body was just letting everything happen naturally. So they were like, okay, give yourself like a break, and then we're gonna count to 10 and push again. So after I gave myself that break, the lady actually asked me, was I ready to push again? Yes. So she said she's gonna count to 10 and then I push. So I pushed 1, 2, 3, 4. Y'all, in that moment, it's so crazy. It's like, it's so overwhelming. It's like, oh my gosh, like, all I knew I had to do was push. My body knew, I felt it. So I pushed again. Okay? And she's like, oh, we see the baby head. That's on the second freaking push. She said, one more big push, mama, and then she's out. That's all I needed to hear. I pushed that one last time. And I started screaming, guys. Like, that's what I felt like. If y'all ever watch natural videos of people giving birth and you hear them screaming, that's all I felt like. It's not a rage, but it's like a and you gotta push, like, and that's exactly what I did. I was on that last push, so I pushed 3 times and she was out. Like, I felt her body, I felt her head, I felt everything, like, shh. And it's so crazy because, like I said, I didn't feel like the epidural was helping me at all. Like, I was not numb, anything. With my first child, I could not lift my legs up. They had to help my legs up. Like, I did everything by myself this time, and I felt the urge to push. I controlled my own body to push. So I thank God that the epidural failed, because that feeling right there was something different. I didn't feel my first child come out. I didn't feel nothing. I was completely numb. This time I felt her come out, and it wasn't something that hurts. It's like, it's so natural that it's a beautiful feeling. Like, that's the way I describe it. It was a beautiful feeling to be able to push my child, to listen to my own body and feel her come out. And my sister was on FaceTime, and she was telling me, you remember how to push, right? Because she remembers the first time I could not push my first out. And I said, girl, I do not care about what you're saying right now, because my body knew what time it was. And the nurse looked at me right after I pushed her, and she said, wow, good job. She told me, good job, mama. And I felt so good. Y'all, I felt so good. My baby came out to be 6 pounds, 15 ounces. Mind y'all, she came out 2 weeks earlier than her time. She was a healthy 6 pound, 15 ounce baby. She's 1 pound to 7 pounds, so that's the average weight. But she was so tiny. My first child came out 8 pounds, and this child was 6 pounds, about to be 7. And when I held her, she was so little and so warm. Like, the whole feeling is just, I love that feeling. It's just so, like, it's like a finally feeling, like, wow, she's out. And those ladies looked at me like, wow. Mind y'all, my doctor didn't make it on time. Everything was so, like, in a rush and in a hurry. It took me a couple of minutes to get her out. So my baby father, he came, he cut the umbilical cord, and they kept the sac still inside of me. She's like, it's right here. So I'm asking her, like, do I have to push or anything? And she's like, no, it's right here. We're waiting for the doctors to come deliver the sac. Just to make him feel better. It wanted to make him feel better, because like I said, it was 5 women, and then he was a male doctor. So then he comes in, he sanitizes, he put on his gloves, he comes, and then he delivers the sac. 3 pushes. Everybody was so shocked. He was shocked. My sister was on the phone. She was shocked. My sister was like, ah, good job. Nobody knew how I felt. So maybe if I have a 3rd child in the future, I would consider doing it natural if I can, like with no epidural, because the feeling is not so bad. It's just, it lasts, it's temporary. Like, all the feelings are temporary, and that's what I always tell everybody, it's a temporary feeling. Those contractions, temporary. Everything is temporary. I didn't tear. With my first child, I got stitches. He had to cut me because her head didn't come out. So he was like, if you don't push, which I could not push because I didn't feel anything, so he ended up cutting me so she could just slide out. Her, with my 2nd child, she came out in 3 big pushes. It was so fast, everybody was shocked. That's how fast it was. When I tell you it was fast, if I could insert a clip of the video so I can really see that I only pushed 3 quick, big, fast times, she came out so quick. I would consider doing it, like, for myself next time, natural, because it's just the contractions, they start to bother you after some point. It's like, dang, like, okay, I don't want to feel it, but I ended up feeling it anyways. So whoever did my epidural, I don't know what she did, I don't know. But I thank God that it was a failed epidural. That's what we're gonna call it, like a failed epidural. It's something that's called like a walking epidural, but I don't think that's what that was, because I felt everything, like everything. But yeah, guys, that's it for this story time. And make sure you subscribe to my channel, okay? You're here for a reason. We met each other for a reason. You got here for a reason. So please subscribe to my channel. Please leave a comment down below for me. Please like this video. And just let me know what other videos you would like to see from me in the comment section down below. Yeah, see you guys in the next video. Bye.